I had told you earlier today, we are talking about your self-worth, all right? Your self-worth. And that is why Benjamin is with me in studio today again. Good morning, Benjamin.
Good morning, and I'm happy we are talking about ourselves.
Exactly. Because, Benjamin, there is a misconception here. And this is what you hinted to in one of your posts, and I read it and I was like, Benjamin, you are right. Because we always assume that this self-worth thing is actually automatic.
We think it's inborn. We tend to think, we confuse, because you can see yourself physically, you can see your body, your hand. We think we can also see our inner selves.
Exactly.
And our value. Yeah. And in fact, to know that you have a spirit, you are a spirit, needs to be taught. Mm-hmm. You are created like God. He is spirit, you are a spirit.
All right.
That needs to be taught. That you have a soul, your soul is basically your intellectual emotions, your mind, and that you live in a body. The body is visible. These other things are not visible, and without teaching, without it, you can live a vague life. You know, I was reading a verse I like, Daniel, book of Daniel says, the people that know their God shall be strong and carry out great exploits. It has started with the knowing.
Yeah.
Then it went on to be strong and carrying out great exploits. Yeah. When you know who you are and whose you are, that knowing is what makes you strong. So without knowing, you're weak.
Okay.
So today we are talking about that danger of not knowing your value and your worth and who you are. Yeah. And it's unfortunate our schools teach us everything except who we are. The curriculum is structured to teach you Avogadro's law. Teaching you everybody else what they said.
Yeah.
And they omit who is that who is learning them. Mm-hmm. They try to shape us in a certain way. And primarily becoming yourself needs to be almost a rebellious act. Mm-hmm. Because it's not in people's interest that you are very self-aware and you know what you deserve and what you want in life. They can't use you very much. You're not very exploitable. They wanted to use you. Whoever is listening to us, it will take a personal, defiant mindset and determination to self-determine, to establish and to dictate what your life will amount to. Mm-hmm. Your life will not amount to something accidentally. We have this saying that God will know, God knows, Mungu anajua and all that. Then we shift our part and we relinquish responsibility. I warned you how we can use faith and prayer to reinforce denial. Yeah. And we tend to say, what will happen in my future? I don't know. Only God knows. Only God knows. Only God wants to partner with you. God wants to partner with you to journey a certain direction. In fact, I was telling you about how the word operates. When you study the word and comes even prophecy, sometimes it's not prophecy, or you hear God is telling you what is in his mind so that you can cooperate and head in that direction. He can tell you things and you never bring them to pass. Joshua was growing old and he was being asked, now you're growing old, look, and you're retiring before the work is done. You can procrastinate until time is gone and you have not finished your work. Yeah. So the first danger is this. When you are not conscious and awake to what you're created to do, is that you will pass quality time moving back and forth. They moved around the desert. You have scattered this mountain. For 40 years, they were going around and around. You'll waste time moving in circles that are not productive. For example, earning salary, paying bills. There are people who are living like that. Yeah. And they think now they're doing life. They are earning salary, paying bills, and they call it earning a living. Mm-hmm. It's a very wasteful cycle to only live to pay the cost of your living. Yeah. It's a very wasteful cycle. You cannot be moving just to buy the fuel for moving. Mm-hmm. Nobody ignites a car to carry passenger only to earn enough to fuel the car again. We all understand that's a wasteful business. Yeah. Nobody does that. Mm-hmm. If after paying fuel there's no profit, this is useless. Mm-hmm. I will not do this business. Yeah. Why do people then live to only fuel their lives? It's a very uneconomical way of existing. But do you know why? I'll tell you some of the things. So we are saying the one problem is you will pass quality time doing mediocre things, like working for pay, working for salary. And you'll be stuck in places that don't bring your life. You'll be stuck in relationships, you'll be stuck in companies and jobs, in positions that you don't like, you don't enjoy, but you don't have a bigger understanding whether there is anything better that exists. Many people's lives are dull because the things that bring them to spark to life, energize them, they don't know them. A lot of people don't even know their personality. They keep saying, I'm both extrovert and introvert. That's the peak of confusion. The day you hear people call themselves ambivert, just confusion. They're sitting on the fence. They seem like they're complex. Can you understand yourself, my friend? You cannot be everything. Can you understand your personality, how you're structured? When I mentor young people, a program where the parents can, sometimes they bring kids and I coach them over a period of 10 weeks sometimes. And I always use CFC. We start with the personality, then take them to CFC. So I use it personal CFC. So personality is the personality book we do. Personality test, understand how they're created. This is for people under 30. And then CFC is your career, your family, and your calling. Your career is supposed to structure it in a way that it is touching both lives, human, changing humanity in a positive way, and also building your fortune. If your career is not both changing lives and building your fortune, it's a waste. It's a waste. I don't care what position you have. Are you touching lives and people saying their lives are better because they met you? Whether you're a government officer, many government officers are lazy and cursed. Go to government offices, many of them, not all of them of course, but many of them behave with such entitlement and bad attitude. They chat in their vernacular in front of you. In front of you, while you are waiting for them to attend your issue. They harass you by laughing like monkeys. Very disrespectful. They ignore you as if you are not an entity. They are attending to your issue and you are paying attention to hear the feedback on your matter, and they are chatting with their colleague over there and chatting about last weekend and quoting names there in their language. And in between the chatting, they throw in a word, give me your ID. No, you're supposed to listen very carefully. Sign here. You're supposed to listen carefully in between that they're harassing you, intimidating, because it's government, you can't do anything. Nobody watches over. Not only government, big companies, big corporations also behave like government, huge. So that nobody has personal responsibility. Everybody's just doing what they, And every time I always try to engage them. When I can, I always try to engage them. Do you really like what you're doing? And do you want to be served the way you're serving people? So make sure the job you're doing, people meet you. And even now and then you meet a person who does their work so well. Sometimes I went to renew my ID and the guy who served me in such heart, man. You just have to tip them and tell them you are different. You are different. It's government, but you are doing, and God will open more doors for you. Your job should be making people happy, feel refreshed for having met you. Number 2, should be building your fortune. Stop operating with savings, addition, and subtraction. You save, then you subtract. You add, subtract. You add, subtract. You can't build a fortune with additions and subtractions. Please, that is mathematics of poverty. Africa, can we wake up? Mathematics of poverty. That is how poverty operates, my brother. You are still in wavelength of poverty. If you are working with adding, so the bank adds, you subtract. And the account is only active around end month. Something comes and quickly, no sooner does it arrive, it goes. Please, that is how poverty operates. Congratulations, you're on level 1. You are living from hand to mouth. That is not sustainable, my friend. That is not sustainable. And many of us think wealth and riches and fortune are for the corrupt. People have come to justify hustler. They even take pride. Call themselves hustler. Brother, never call me hustler. Are we together? I don't want to be a struggler. How can you call yourself a struggler? And that's your identity. some things people use for political purposes, but please don't personalize it. Okay?
Yeah.
These guys know what they are doing. And the guys who call themselves hustlers are not hustlers. You are the one who's, my friend, can you use your common sense? Use your Pony Mackenzie ability. Between you and the fella who's calling themselves, who's the fool here? This is not a political opinion. I'm not experiencing, I'm just saying be careful your language.
Yeah.
I have noticed that people like calling themselves wakulima ndogo, small farmer. People have crafted ways they're trying to bargain for lower pay, but they end up belittling themselves. Be careful how you bargain in shops and wherever by saying, I'm a very poor guy, charge me little. The label you give yourself can stick. Let me remind you that your emotions don't know when you're joking or when you're serious. Yeah. Your mind cannot tell whether it's only fantasy or it's only what you imprint in you, you feel it in reality. Sometimes I want you to avoid bargaining and to go to hotels that are expensive just for the sake of affirming that you're also worthy. Yeah. That level. Please make sure every now and then throw in a crazy move. I went to Kempinski and realized, what is it that people will keep fearing here? You know, Villa Rosa Kempinski is so famous, but it is not spacious. It's somewhere in the city, squeezed. See, what is the big idea here? It's 5-star. They have menus that are importing. They can make you things from French, from wherever. The other time I was in Voyager, another hotel called Voyager. They move with themes. Today they're in the Babylon. They're making foods from the Asia, from wherever. And you hear, so they behave like a ship. They say today our ship has docked somewhere in Syria. So they're making food from Syria. So our ship has docked somewhere in Japan. So they're making meals from Japan. I loved that kind of. I realized, so some of things we've been fearing, what they end up giving us is exposure. In going to those high places, I realized some of the people I see on TV, you are sitting next table there. Yeah. Just brushing shoulders there. That's where they frequent. And you don't have to buy everything people sell there. You don't have to be intimidated. The one problem of not knowing who you are is you pass your peak time performing at mediocrity. Register that, and if it does not make you afraid, something is wrong with you. When you read the kings, their achievements were recorded. And what they achieved most. And today I was summarizing when they start to write kings, or they start to write the sons of the land, what will be written about me? Because it's surely written, he did this and this and that, and he died, and he was succeeded by... And then the rest of his acts are recorded in the annals of kings of Judah. Something like that. This is always a summary to your life, my brother. Yeah. There'll be a summary. Don't think yourself too important. When they begin to summarize the king who achieved more, they write until they say we can't contain everything you wrote here. The other one is contained in other records. I want to change lives so much that it will be difficult to contain what I do in one sitting. Other people live such brief lives. You can summarize in a few lines. When you read the Kings, you see the summary of life. The succession of the kings. Succession. This was succeeded by who? Succeeded by who? Some ruled, and it was whether they were righteous or they were evil. Righteous or evil. Whether they feared God, whether they walked with God, or they walked in the ways of evil kings of Israel. There is always that distinction. And in Daniel 12, it says that those who turn many to righteousness shall shine like the brightness of the firmament forever and ever. Your example primarily when you are visible, when you're in the limelight there, during your peak of powers, those who are starting life, the younger than you, those who are 10 years, 15 years, those who are looking for people to emulate, you may turn them to righteousness by modeling godliness. And if you turn people to righteousness, you will shine like the brightness of the firmament forever and ever. When I woke up this morning, the moon was bright. It was so lovely, man. You begin to feel romantic and writing poems. At least we have somebody to write to. People like Brahma must write and keep it inside. Or they post it. So, I remembered, look at the glory of the moon. So quiet and serene and lovely. And yet, where we are going, there will be another glory bigger to the glory of the one who made it, who made that moon now. He said, his presence will be the light there. And I can't wait to see how beautiful it is. And I was saying, This moon was shining when my great-great-great-grandfather was here. And unless Jesus comes to my great-great-great-grandchild, we'll find it there. It's a cycle. We're being given a turn on the brief stage of life to make a difference and make a place for yourself in eternity. The life you're living here, Brahman, is 0.01%. Generously speaking, I'm telling you a figure you can imagine. If I was to give you an accurate figure,
Generously speaking.
I'm trying to approximate that we don't occupy time with accuracy. But if I was to give you the accurate, learn to take it like 1%. 99% of my life is over there. What we are doing here, Bramwell, is a pattern that you will live to reap. Don't forget who you are meant to be here. So much so that you spend time with things that will be blown away. You will not stand the fire, the test of fire. All right. The second thing is, when you do not know who you are, you end up hanging around people who also don't know who you are. Let me shock you. That the way you're being treated by the people around you and how you're accommodating it is a direct reflection of how aware you are, how you're worth.
Yeah.
I wrote yesterday and people started. Somebody inboxed me and I blocked them immediately. There are many buttons I make quite some use of. I told people that once a person has shown you abusive ways that they have disrespected you once, the duty shifts to you to protect yourself. If you continue tolerating that abuse, don't come here talking like a hero of abuse. For 15 years, this guy's been cheating on me. For 20 years, imagine for now you're talking like a hero of abuse. My friend. My friend. There's nothing heroic in living with a person who treats you less than what you deserve. We do not ignore that there are people who themselves, they grow in abuse, they can't recognize abuse. When you grow in an abusive family, it teaches you that you're not worth good to be treated well, and that you are responsible for making other people happy even at the expense of your own happiness. But what did we say? You know wrong treatment because it feels painful, and you should not rush to marriage before you reform the conditioning of abusive backgrounds. My brother, if you live asleep, sleepwalk through life, you come from a father who used to call you invalidating names, a mother who was neglectful, a family where you are not validated, and your first ambition is not to enlarge your life by finding a large space and taking some years to carve a place for yourself on earth. Jephthah was rejected and sent away literally. He was sent away from his home because he was born from a side chick. And he was not a legitimate child. They did not want him to threaten with inheritance. And he was sent away. Did he pity himself? He started building himself as a leader and having a following. One day, the war rose back in his home, and they only knew one warrior, one leader who could mobilize them to battle and to win. They went for him. You might be rejected because you are born from a clandestine. And we did a show the other day telling them, what if you are the rejected child, the secret child, the one who's not supposed to be revealed, who was born from an evil secret deed. Top secret. An affair by the wrong man.
Yeah.
A very senior moral authority who did an affair, and then you were born there. Jephthah was treated like an outcast, but he did not treat himself like an outcast. Listen to me. If you do not know what you deserve, who you are, you'll end up surrounding yourself with people who don't know it either. They will abuse you, mistreat you, and you will swallow it. So the person I was blocking was coming saying, just try to be kind to these people. Some of them, they take time to plant. It may not be possible to get out of it. My friend, go and preach that gospel in your own space. Brahman, you don't have eternity to sit with a pharaoh. You don't have eternity to sit with a person you know is belittling and damaging your mental health. It's a place to plan. Sometimes in order to get out, you need a plan. But a plan is not procrastination. It's not passivity. It's not avoidance and fear and timidity. And Brahma, unless we speak courage, fear is swallowing destinies and years and lives. And people are passing all the productive days cowed. And in Job 3 says there, the prisoners sit together. They don't hear the shouts of the oppressor. Job was regretting, I wish I was not born. I wish I was sitting somewhere with In the place where I don't hear the shouts of the oppressor, there they are not troubled, they're not afflicted anymore. And sometimes people are living in wishful thinking and waiting for deliverance from somewhere out there. They're waiting for somebody out there, and they keep living in pity party. It is very disappointing when God placed you here to change things, and instead of changing them, you make yourself a victim. If Esther was living in self-pity and crying and cry baby and she would not have delivered a whole Jewish nation. Joseph was all persecuted and mistreated, but he maintained his faith and his integrity. That's how he saved a whole generation. Brahma, it could be that your whole clan, the guys behind you or the guys in front of you, will depend on the shift. How you believe in yourself, how you know who you are, and the shift the trajectory of your life so that they are born in a better place. The father of Abraham, Terah, did not reach to Canaan. He set out, but he settled on the way and died there. In Genesis 11, you see, he started the journey, but they don't finish it. God started dealing with a child. That is Abraham, telling him now, move. Go. He made sure Abraham reached there. Many of us, we were born midway between where we're supposed to go and where we are coming from. Economically speaking, it is not the will of God for Africa to be this poor. It's because we are midway. It's not God's plan for us to be this oppressed. It's because we are midway. And the other day we were arguing a topic that is very annoying to argue. Should women be allowed to work? By who? A woman is an individual of her own right. She's being allowed by who? I don't know what we are talking about. Go and ask that question in Europe. They will ask you, I think you are insulting the women fraternity. Who is supposed to allow them?
Question. Sometimes I wonder.
Where are we coming from? Where are we coming from? Women, listen to me. You rush into marriage because a guy is driving a car when you don't have your own identity and money. He will put you where he found you. Because you don't know yourself, you end up surrounding yourself with husbands and men who don't know who you are either.
And those are predators.
Very good. They're predators. And I said the other day, the first prelude, the first requirement before you imagine and think of marrying anyone is to know who you are, the lifestyle you want, where you want to live, the clothes you want to wear, the cars. Even before you buy them, decide them. Decide on them.
Exactly.
Start earning a little so that the person knows the trajectory of your life. If you're sleeping with anyone, if you're cohabiting, some boy you told me this morning, I don't know, he's 26, the guy is 23, they are cohabiting. I usually don't type. I can't manage to type that kind of conversation. I have a copy-paste message.
That is the easiest way to deal with them.
For all under 25s who are engaging sex and relationships, I tell them, my friend, Africa is full of poor people and you are joining them. Enjoy your company. Please. Excuse me. You're supposed to be building your life. You're too young for that nonsense. I told him you will regret every single day you cohabited with a woman. When you're this young, premarital, you're complicating your life and you reap every single joy with tears, with the struggle, with the sweat of your brow. What do you see when you see young men running after machines in the construction sites and it's not mechanized, it's manual labor and they're sweating and suffering and it's anguish? What do you see? What do you see, brother? And they are the ones who are paid the least. The guy who's paid the most is the one who's watching over them. Mm-hmm. Because he's using brain, he's trained. In the West, that's how not it works. That's not how it works. It's mechanized. Mm-hmm. But here, it's cheaper to use guys because they're available. Yeah. If people became more learned and they wanted better positions, these lower jobs will be mechanized. But the contractor calculates which one is cheaper. He takes the cheaper option. Very good. You go to a place where you don't have manual labor, even petrol stations, it operates itself. You come and pump your own car. Fuel your own car. Swipe your card. Nobody's available for such cheap work. And the operator of the business found it more economical to have automatic machines. Here, we have people who don't even like the job they're doing. So, brother, we are saying the second consequence is that you'll end up surrounding yourself with relationships and people and friends and partners who don't know yourself either. The other thing, the other disaster, when you forget, when you neglect to study who you are, when you neglect to know who the trajectory of your life, where you are created to do is, you end up living a small, struggling life, especially financially, especially in terms of the careers you occupy. Does it infuriate you, Brahma, when you are at work or at places and you are being led by people who are less competent than you? Those people neglect to know who they are in terms of gifting and talents. They end up in positions that they can't move up because they hate their job. They can't resign because they needed to survive, and they can't change it. They're being ordered by people whom they hate. If you're being stressed for a whole year now, you're the one I'm talking to. Your job should not stress you for long, by the way. You should always be ready to walk out should they start stressing you out. When you know who you are, you do not tolerate mistreatment. But I've met people whose health is collapsing, who's actually they're developing kidney issues, blood pressure issues, heart issues, because they tell me for the last 3-4 years, they're tied by loans, they're tied by money issues, they're tied by, and the boss is horrible. The job environment is chaotic. One lady told me the boss keeps saying, you should get married. The people are so disrespectful. Why are you still single? Why don't you have a man? Because all of them are married and you're single. And companies have, workplaces sometimes have that tendency of alienating you because you're single. And they make it their business to keep pressuring you about getting married. I don't know at what point we must draw the lines, because they make it their business to ask why you're not married every day, whether you're not marrying this year. Why are they so uncomfortable? Them, they're married, they should be happy. Why are they bothered about me? Because I'm single. Every corner, somebody throws a word about being single. Every corner, they're trying to throw me extra duties because I'm single and not have somebody to go home to. Every time they keep it bringing up. It is so annoying. Why is it your business that I'm single? Why is it your business? It's so offensive and wrong. In fact, they can pressure you until you come to believe that, and this girl is only 22, 23.
Look at that.
She's still taking her time in life. She could even be 28 or 38. Who cares? This is her life. If you're in a work environment where it's being disrespectful, the boss looks down upon you and you're still swallowing it, tolerating it, sitting down with, ask yourself whether you know who you are. You need to stand up to them and tell them, excuse me, my personal life about whether I'm single or married is my personal life. I don't want comments about it. I don't want to discuss it. And you should be ready for them to say, we have fired you. We say the test for integrity is that you stand for what is right at whatever cost, knowing that your God will provide a way. They are not your God. They may fire you today and tomorrow you get a better job. Never tolerate another pharaoh, nor worship another idol, bow before another authority. Tell God, whatever does not rhyme with what you want me to do, I will not sit with it. Brother, if you continue fearing, you are not walking in faith. You need to stand for what you know is right, and God kneel before God. God tell him, God, now today I'm going to stand up for myself. You will know whether I need to stay there or not. But I can't continue being stressed on that, so that I can't even think, I can't pray, I can't focus, I can't be functional. I want my personal space. Other people can't dress smartly. You dress smartly, and other married and already given up and flat women who are just living like this. They start, looking, thinking you are outshining them, or you are trying to attract or seduce. When you are young and energetic, or you simply live with higher standards, people will persecute you over that. Over that only. Let me tell you, if you are being changed into who you are not, now you are forgetting who you are. Dress how you believe. This is my conviction. This is how I feel comfortable. Of course, you are dressing with all decency. But again, you don't want to dress in a flat way and a creative way. There's a group that was attending somewhere, and they were asking the ladies they were suggesting what to dress. Some of them are saying they dress huge. Were they either daras or something, and it was an official function. So some of them were saying, hey guys, we need to look youthful and energetic. And we show up here. I think it was a talk in a college or university. And I like the discussion because some of them were coming from a place of dressing like their mothers. They think that is respectable. No, just because you're going to a secondary school does not mean you have to dress like older people and we're young people. They were going, I think, to their alumnus, to the school they had attended before. And they were going back to visit. And they said, what is the dress code? Guys, let's dress good. You can just give colors, not particular outfits. Now you don't appear here in deras, those big clothes, and it's an official function. Let's show them that our career life, the way we planned it, is bearing fruit. Dress in a way that you know that is season of your life requires that. And if anybody is uncomfortable with it, if your church is uncomfortable, move to another church the other side. Jesus said you will not have finished the villages before he comes. If one church is troubling you, go to the other side, the other church. But don't quit on church. Don't give up. Don't stay at home. The devil will find you there. Go to the other branch. It can be branch of the same church. The church you're used to. and remind women to buy cars so that they can move where they want. Some people are limited because they have no means. You need means so that you can be freed to go where you want. Are we together? Yes.
Now, you've actually said that and acknowledged that indeed there is a mistake and believe that awareness of who we are should be inborn or natural, okay? But something that is not true. But again, it is supposed to be instilled right from childhood. How can parents ensure that they instill a sense of self-worth in their children?
Make sure you tell them their gender. Gender, you're a man, you're a woman, you're a girl, you're a boy. This gender confusion, the reason you are seeing a lot of sexual perversion is because sexual sin brings judgment. The devil is trying to bring judgment on humanity quickly. I keep asking you why sexual sins have formed themselves into a cohort. There's a group of sexual perversions.
Yeah.
We don't have a cohort of alcoholics, drug users, of gamblers. We don't have a cohort. You do not hear that this is now a conglomerate of all people who are addicted to drugs. But all sexual perversions have a grouping to look for social acceptability, to promote their presence. They've even been funded. Movies to show homosexual themes, to show gay, to show lesbian, to show trans anything. What should have been treated? They're trying to make it look like it's another reality. Teach your child that they are boy, they are girl. Teach them how healthy God wanted us to function. Some children end up that direction because of we left a blank. They are not quite sure which direction they're supposed to go. So they consume content that advertises perversion, and they end up in that direction. So dress them in the right way. Stop dressing your children in a confusing manner. Sometimes you get confused when you meet a kid who's about 8 years or 9 and you can't tell because they're dressed like unisex, whatever they call unisex. They're dressed in a manner that you can't tell if it's a boy or girl. I am determined that every child who passes through my hands, my own and those around, I make sure even the parents I advise and tell them, make it clear, distinguish early the gender of that child. There should be no confusion whether you're a boy or you're a girl. If there's a biological imbalance of hormones, treat them the same way you treat imbalance in chemicals of the brain. Sometimes there's a depression caused by hormonal imbalances. Depression, anxiety. We simply take medication and rebalance it. We don't say, I'm depressed by nature. Depression is my identity. Don't try to make it official. That is who you are. No. So that is one. The other thing is, tell the child the standards, the scale of life they're supposed to achieve. So they can begin to believe that they're here to change the world. They're here to serve humanity. They're here to make an impact. They're here to make their life count. They're here to move things. Announce to the child which direction they're supposed to go. Tell them from early on that you see their star is bright. Where do you get the authority to do that? God did not create anybody to remain small and insignificant. Remember we said, you might be a kindergarten teacher, but you do it so well, your influence on your children is so deep. You have a global impact because they go all over the world. Yeah. You may not be the one on TV, but you're a kindergarten teacher. Or you sell groceries locally, but you're so good in the grocery, you're so good with people that you change, you touch lives daily because of your genuineness, because of how well you do your work, how well you provide people options, how you are sincere. You can run a small thing in a big way. So this is not a scale to mean everybody must go on radio or TV. Your intuition and God will lead you day by day, day by day. Brother Lawrence, the one who wrote The Practice of the Presence of God, was a chef. He was a cook. But he was saying he practiced the presence of God while he was serving customers, while he was cooking in the kingly. Sometimes he would cook for royalties. He was a chef. You might be a chef. The one who does it in a manner that shows the character of God. God wanted himself to be represented everywhere. Inspire your child to operate on a high, global, respectable, sensational, transformative scale.
Right, and I like that. And Benjamin, we have people who have grown up in an environment of invalidation and belittlement. And these are the people who are either entering the job market, these are the people who are searching for spouses who want to settle here and there in life. What can they do to actually rectify that? Because again, they can enter in life while twisted.
Be very careful when You heard the wrong messages throughout your life. How do you know it is wrong? Because it does not sit well with you. And it limits you. Brother, there's something God puts in you that when it is violated, you can tell. Because you are uncomfortable, you feel stressed, you feel lost. You can tell this is not who I was designed to be. The solution is to seek therapy. The solution is to teach yourself. The solution is to educate yourself. There are many people listening to us now. There are many people following our program now. Because they know they're trying to get information to improve their lives. Let me also surprise you that you can get your self-esteem damaged either in an outrightly abusive environment or in an environment that looks normal. But some instances that happened along your path, they did not even happen to your siblings. They happened to you alone. A teacher was very critical of you. Some favors that were given to other people and you are left out. Some compliments that were left and you are left out. Those kids who used to score high marks, they got more attention from most of the parents. Other kids, it was not the class marks that they were gifted in. They were meant to be somebody, maybe, imagine somebody is supposed to be an orator or a good radio, and he's only good in English and Swahili. He's not good in math or those other geography or science or those other things. So they don't score that high. They may not get attention, yet they may still go on to change the world. Brother, listen, what you're supposed to do if you grew up being invalidated is to seek therapy or healing. And this one you will do it yourself. As we said, nobody else is committed to see you heal. Only you. It must start with you. Even when you marry, you're supposed to marry a person and they have sensed your energy that you are keen to correct what is wrong in your life. You are keen to heal where you are hurting. You are keen to be corrected, to be guided. And they're even bringing them in your life to be your mirror, just like you will be their mirror. In some ways in which you are unconscious, there are some things about you that you are blind to. They have become your second nature. You can't see that they are dysfunctional, that you overreact to some things, that you get quiet, that you withdraw. Sometimes you disappear. There's some things you cannot see and they will see for you and help you see it. So you are the pioneer. Unfortunately, even when you are not the one who brought the pain, you are responsible for the healing. Yes.
You are responsible for the healing. And Benjamin, you see, sometimes people have gone through this kind of pain and this kind of invalidation so much that is embedded within their system. So it only takes a person from the outside to tell them, hey, there is something wrong with you. Some people are not aware that that is exactly their main problem. Invalidation is their own problem.
In fact, we need to begin to invite feedback. Feedback that says, I know, I may be, I don't. Sometimes how you can welcome feedback is how approachable you are.
Yeah.
Even you asking the person, I know we have been together and, for this year or for this. And one way people give you feedback is during your birthdays because they're addressing you. And during their birthdays, they also compliment you and show up in people's events. Yeah. They'll compliment what you have done in their lives. You need to learn to let people know that you're approachable and you welcome negative feedback. When you're not approachable, when you overreact to corrections, when you overreact to criticism, it means people will avoid giving you feedback. The attitude with which people talk is what matters the most. If somebody is trying to dismiss you, don't welcome them because they're trying to injure your self-esteem. But somebody who comes politely to suggest a correction, that is what you need. That is a constructive, not criticism. Destructive is when somebody is trying to dismiss you and tell you off. That's what I was telling you in my space. I don't allow dismissive people who come with a bad attitude as if they're telling you are nobody, you're making noise. What are they doing in your space? The social space is a free space. You might as well go and occupy yourself in your space. So we are saying, Brahma, you are the one to get the feedback and invite it more so from those people below you who have the time to observe you carefully. Yes.
People below you who have time to observe you carefully. Benjamin, it is so inspirational. How I wish people could get this, because sometimes, Benjamin, I wonder if you lack, it is common knowledge, if you lack knowledge in business and you venture into business, it will collapse.
Exactly.
Now, why are we not taking the same principle in our own lives?
Exactly.
That if I don't know who I am and I'm venturing into other areas, seasons of life, I'm automatically going to lose.
Exactly.
If I don't know who I am and I'm looking for somebody to settle down with, I'll automatically land on somebody who is not supposed to be mine.
And it's because people don't know, knowing who you are, how it's supposed to feel.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to feel confident, assured. It's not a destination, it's an alignment. because you continue improving yourself throughout life. But you needed the alignment so that you can describe the future you're trying to build with clarity. Recall back to those days when you were not clear about who you are. You only had many ideas that were flying over your head without a clear vision of who you are, the standard, what you deserve and what you don't deserve, where you are. So those who don't know knowing yourself, how it feels calming. When you don't know yourself, you are confused. For example, if you are cohabiting with anyone now, you don't know yourself. If you are behaving like you're married and you're not married, if you're having sex, you don't know yourself. You are damaging, you're planting seeds of disaster, and you might reap them for many years. I mentioned the other day and I said, having a long-term relationship, whatever they call, is the longest way to marry wrong. There are many ways of getting a question wrong, but these ones are choosing the longest route. To date for 9 years, to end up being left high and dry, having been wasted, damaged, hurt, confused. Time is gone, seasons closed, and you wasted 9 years thinking of being loyal. And yet you're wasting your time. If you are now on that day and counting, welcome to the club of self-wasters. Because they listen to us here and they exempt themselves. Theirs is special, ours is a special thing. My friend, continue being special. You'll be a special failure.
The serious way.